Loft to me in the hacker world is like in the music world it would be Slayer, or in the computer like video game world is Doom. It's like
Yeah.
it was a group that just was leaps and bounds above everyone that really set an entire
Yeah.
world that has just taken off from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, at the time we didn't know that was
You're
going
just
on.
like, hey, you want to meet up and do cool stuff?
Yeah, we didn't know at the time. It was like, we knew we wanted to have a legacy. I knew that I had a certain ethos, as it's obvious. Like, I'm like, this is what it's about, right? And this is
Yeah,
the template for the culture. But it just, and it's not. And also, the thing to remember too is it wasn't just who was in the loft. Like, you go to Wikipedia, like who was in the loft.
yeah,
That's incidental. What was really important was the community around it, because it
yeah,
would because not everyone could be part of the loft, because you could only be part of the loft if you helped pay the rent. That was it. It's like, oh, you want to be part of the loft? I want a desk here. How do you get a desk? I got to pay part of the rent. There you go. You're done.
yeah,
And then over time, there was more criteria for, like, you wouldn't let in anyone, but you'd have to
yeah.
kind of, make sure there was a good cultural fit, because sometimes people are just like whatever, but
Weird.
that's
Yeah,
fine. But like, it was like picking roommates, right? It's like figuring out a
yeah.
roommate situation. And because there were some people who were brilliant. It's like, dude, you're never gonna have any money to pay the rent. I'm sorry, can't we can't subsidize you, whatever. But
Did you ever have to
it
kick
was,
anyone out?
oh, I can't remember. I don't remember.
That's
It
good.
was it
Most
was
likely
I
it wasn't
mean, but
bad.
the thing was, the bottom line was, it attracted just good people.
Hmm.
99.99% of the time, it was just like really good people. So you had all these people who
Yeah,
were not part of the loft, but who, for all intents and purposes, were, because they were
yep,
hanging out all the time. They were coming over all the time. Sometimes they even had access to the space, even if they weren't part of the loft. It got much more formalized when it became a real company, right, and all that
hmm,
stuff. And again, that was
yeah,
past my time. But so people like Lady Ada, like, she wasn't technically part of the loft, but oh my, I consider her totally part of the loft scene. That was it.
yeah.
She was like part of the community there, a critical person. A critical person. So many people learned from her over time. I remember people be going like, yeah, oh my God, I learned all this stuff from her. It's like this little teenage girl. I mean, she's a grown woman now, but at the time, it was
That
just like
was, you know what?
mind blowing.
That was the beauty though of the internet and the hacker culture back then. Because with BBSs, I guess I should really say, is because like I was a 14-year-old kid when I first got into it, and that's what opened up my eyes, and that's 100% as to why I'm here right now doing what I do for sure in the security space. But when you're in that like BBS world and talking with people, it is completely anonymous, and there's no boundary. It's not like, oh, I'm a 14-year-old kid talking to some 30-year-old guy. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
And
no,
it
you're
wasn't
right.
even a question. It wasn't like, oh, are you just some kid? I mean, you know, like a script kiddies and whatever. But like, it it didn't matter. It was, are you worth your weight in salt? If so, that's all that matters. It's like, cool. What'd you
Yeah,
do? What can you help with? And
yeah,
awesome, great, great to have you.
yeah. And as long as you're like, as long as you're smart and curious and collaborative and
Yeah.
not an asshole, then it's like, that's it. That's it. You're in.
Yeah. You definitely had to work
You,
your way. You had to prove that though. A lot of the times,
well,
it was a
yeah,
lot of.
yeah.
So it wasn't terribly easy all the time.
No, no. And sometimes it was just, it was just, um, yeah. Sometimes, I mean, it was often just like a gut feeling too. And it's like, you never, but it was, there was this whole, it was always the joke, like, elite
Yeah. Oh
access,
yeah.
elite.
Elite
How do you become
access.
elite? EL1T3, elite, spelled in elite speak, right? And we would always joke about it too. Like, I mean, I remember, like, with the Cult of the Dead Cow, we would always be like, if we would go to conferences, we'd all stay in the same hotel room because we had no money, right?
Yeah, of
Whatever.
course.
And we'd be like, yeah, let's just all crash in the room. And so we'd always like rent a big room, sometimes like a suite. And so the big joke was, we would always say, we're going back to the suite of the elite. The suite of the elite. That was like the thing. That's where the CDC people were hanging out. The suite of the elite.